What the hell is this? So as you all may know, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul has recently been announced for July 20th. And man, where do I even begin? To me, this is the most stupidest fight out of all of the crossover influencer boxing events. And not because it's against an MMA fighter or retired professional, but because it is arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time in the sport of boxing. Not only that, but he will be 58 years old on fight night. And to be honest, I don't know how anyone on Mike's team or any of his family have let this slide, because when you're facing a fresh 27-year-old who, let's be honest, is still dangerous in Jake Paul, who is coming and fighting a pretty much old man. He's literally 7 years away from being considered elderly and a senior citizen. Although Mike Tyson does seem pretty dangerous still, I think this is a very dumb fight, and today I'm going to break down why I think this is a pointless fight for both Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, but also break down what I think the outcome will be. Okay, so why is this a stupid fight? Well, like I said before, I think this is a lose-lose for both, and I genuinely don't see what either can gain for each of their legacies. Let's start with Jake Paul. If he wins this fight, yes, he can say he beat Mike Tyson. That sounds amazing and looks fantastic on a resume, and it's probably something amazing you can use as a brag to people. Oh, I beat Mike Tyson and I'm a YouTuber. I understand how that will go down, but I think people will see through the BS. In terms of, yes, Mike is 58 years old. We've seen Jake Paul dragged for fighting older retired MMA fighters, so how would it go down him fighting an even older person, someone who I think is the oldest he's ever faced? I don't think it would go down well, and I don't even feel like he'll get credit for beating Mike Tyson at all, because let's be honest, all he would have done is beat a 58-year-old, so that to me doesn't seem like much of a gain. And especially for your legacy wanting to be great, we've seen the list of people that he wants to fight.
Jake Paul's hit list: Canelo, scared; Conor McGregor, KSI, Gervonta Davis, Floyd's son.
He said he wants to be a world champion, and I don't think that's a step in the right direction. What about Mike Tyson? This is even worse for him, because if he loses to a YouTuber, Jake Paul...
You're watching Disney Channel. Oh, no looker, first ever. Oh, nailed it.
It's pretty much over for him. I mean, it's like he is retired anyway, but think about the fantastic legacy Mike has built, and just to lose to a YouTuber at the end of his career, for people to see their superhero getting beat to someone who has only been boxing for a few years, would be sad for people to see. And let's be honest, it is a possibility. I know we say Mike Tyson's great, Mike Tyson this, but come on, it's now 30 years since he's fought. He's not the same Mike Tyson. And if he wins, well, great, but it won't do much for him either. Maybe the boxing community would be happy, but realistically it does nothing for him at all. It's a paycheck, but Mike can make money in other ways. He has a podcast, he does events. I mean, he's Mike Tyson. He can make as much money as he wants.
Come over now.
But going down this path, to me, is not a smart business move, and I don't know if his ego's got to him or what it is, but regardless, him beating Jake Paul would really not benefit him in any kind of way, and wouldn't prove any kind of point. But nobody wants to see Mike Tyson get beat down, including me. So why on earth does Jake Paul want to fight a 58-year-old man, regardless of the name? You have to think, at what point does morals come into play and genuine values and being a good person? I mean, yes, Jake Paul is on his way up and it is a great opportunity for him, but to fight a 50-year-old man, regardless if it's Mike Tyson, kind of out of order, to be honest. I don't think that should be respected, because he still is, like I said, an old man. Fighting a 58-year-old who is retired and is enjoying his life, and kind of picking on him to fight you when you know it's someone with a big ego who won't back down, it's kind of messed up, to be honest. So how do I see this fight playing out? You want my answer? Here's my answer. Look, we all got excited for Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Two pound-for-pound greats going at it, but it did not meet expectations at all, to say the least. Why? Because they're old. They don't have the same athleticism and movement as they did when they were younger. And yes, it was a hyped up fight, and yes, in their prime it could have been an amazing fight, but when you get two people in their 50s where they've slowed down, it was just never going to make out for a good fight. And I think people genuinely expected it to be an amazing fight, and people were so hyped for it. But we all watched that fight and we all saw how bad it was. Their movement was trash, athleticism out the window. You can even hear them breathing out loud in the ring, getting out of breath. That fight literally looked like two old men. Not even Mike Tyson or Roy Jones' old men. Two standard, regular old men. So what makes anyone think that a young 27-year-old, fairly athletic, with some hefty power will get beat by this old man. And that's no disrespect. Mike was a great fighter and should continue doing the exhibitions and should continue doing the events that he does, his podcasts and things of that nature. But when you have two old men in a ring, as we saw before, fighting and nothing really happened and ended up in a draw where no one landed any significant shots, which means Mike has lost a lot of power, which should be obvious by now. He's lost power, speed, athleticism, movement, and all the things that make him great. So Mike Tyson beating Jake Paul is probably not very likely. Let's not get fooled from what we see on the mitts, because the mitts and bags are very different to a real fight. I see a lot of Mike Tyson training videos surfacing the internet and people are getting hyped for it, like Mike has still got it, he's Mike Tyson, he's a beast. But come on now, let's be honest. Just because he can hit the mitts well, it's very easy to look good on the mitts and bag. But we've all seen it firsthand now against Roy Jones Jr. what he really can perform like at this age. And it's just not great. So honestly, I don't know about this fight. I'm not a big fan of it. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think will happen? And do you think this is good for the sport? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. That'll be all from us. I'll catch you in the next one.